iconic campsites of our country, where just to see that campsite, it's worth it doing the entire trek. That's the list I have for you today. A couple of months ago, we released a part 1 of this video where we spoke about 7 most iconic campsites of India. And I got a lot of comments on that video saying, please make part 2 of this because they loved that list of campsites. So this is part 2 where I'm covering 8 very, very different campsites which are worth it just to see the campsites. So it's a very interesting list. Let's take a look. Let's do a quick recap of part 1 of this video. So in that video, we covered the lower waterfall campsite, or what is called Dhandera's Dhat at Rupen Pass. We spoke about Tapovan campsite on the Gomukh Tapovan trek. Then we spoke about this beautiful plateau, which is Tilandi on the Brahmatal trek. Then we had Sabargram, which is a beautiful iconic campsite on the Sandakphu trek. Then we had Futsirang, a river delta campsite at Pinbhaba Pass. And then we had Dayara, which is a campsite on the Buran Ghati trek. Finally, we ended with Central India with the Pandopara campsite on the Chhattisgarh jungle trek. That was my previous list, but today I have another wide variety of treks. Let's take a look. The first one is a campsite that a lot of people felt bad that I left out in part 1, and that is the Thansing campsite on the Goichala trek. Now, Thansing is an iconic campsite, one of the most photographed campsites on the Goichala trek, lying at around 12,900 feet. This campsite is a huge sprawling meadow or a plateau. It is above the tree line, above everything. But the beauty is it lies under the shadow of Mount Pandim, which rises to around 6,600 meters. And you're sitting right in the shadow of that big mountain, seeing it from bottom to top. You do not get experiences like that. Very few places I can think of, maybe the Tapovan campsite where you see Mount Shivling similarly, but very few campsites offer such an iconic view of a mountain. And the best part is even the Kanchenjunga is right there, because the next day you're trekking from here and going to viewpoint 1. So Thansing has a lot going on, whether it is colored or in snow. It is a very beautiful campsite. That's why it's number 1 on this list today. The next campsite on my list is a Mulling campsite on the Pinbhaba Pass trek. This is your very first campsite and you're already going to be awestruck by the beauty of this trek, because Mulling at around 10,500 feet, you are going to be camping right beside the Bhaba river. You're surrounded by beautiful pine forests and you can see snow-capped mountains, you can see small beginnings of glaciers in the distance. So it's a very beautiful, like a postcard perfect setting at this campsite. In fact, we have pictures of this Mulling campsite so many times in our calendar that I've lost count. So it is that postcard campsite that we have on the Pinbhaba Pass trek, and just to see this campsite, it's worth it. Next on my list is one of the most underrated treks and perhaps underrated campsites as well, and that is the Pushtara campsite on the Fulara Ridge trek. Now, if you know Fulara Ridge, you are walking on this terrific ridge walk for an entire day almost, with big mountains walking alongside you. And from there, you actually descend down to this lovely grassland. You totally don't see it coming because the vastness really, gets you by surprise. And then you realize you're going to be camping in those vast grasslands, and that is the Pushtara grasslands. It's one of those very picturesque grasslands where you have your tents, you have big mountains in the distance that are going to be there with you when you're camping there at night. So it's a very picturesque one at around 9,800 feet, and it's not on a difficult trek because most of the very picturesque campsites are on harder treks. This is one of those that are very easily accessible, very beautiful campsite. That's Pushtara. The next on my list is again a lesser known, lesser trodden upon campsite because it's on the Bali Pass trek. That is the Ruinsara Tal campsite. Now, Bali Pass, everyone knows it to be this very rugged, adventurous trek, but it has a very soft side to it all the way until Ruinsara Tal, because you're walking from these beautiful grasslands and forests of Devsuthach, and from there you reach Ruinsara Tal. Now, this lake is a bit seasonal, sometimes there, sometimes not there, sometimes very green, sometimes covered with snow all around it. But if you're there and you're lucky enough to camp beside the lake, you're going to have a very beautiful experience, because early in the morning especially, this lake is crystal clear. You're seeing reflections of the mountains around you, and it's a very, very picturesque setting. So Ruinsara Tal, just to go till Ruinsara Tal and come back also is a very beautiful experience. So if you get a chance, you must go camp there. The next campsite, one of the most iconic campsites, is the Palpu campsite on the Miyar Valley trek. Now, to be frank with you, this was very hard to pick, because Miyar Valley is one of those treks where any campsite is beautiful, whether it is Palpu or Yoling or Zardong. There are so many campsites. They all look very similar also, and the experience is very similar. So we had a lot of debates on which one is the best. But the one at Palpu has a lot of big peaks around you, including the Castle Peak, which is a very significant peak of the region. So that is a campsite we're picking. But very honestly, Miyar Valley has a lot of debatable campsites. You go on the trek, just pitch your camp anywhere, it'll be one of those most beautiful campsites. Just take a look at the pictures on our website and you'll know what I'm talking about. That's the Miyar Valley trek for you. The next on my list is a personal favorite, I must say, because I'm talking about the Upper Waterfall campsite on the Rupen Pass trek. Previously, I did mention Lower Waterfall in my previous video. I also mentioned Upper Waterfall little, but it requires a mention of its own. The Upper Waterfall campsite has a very different feel to it, because you are going almost to the source or the origin of the Rupen River. You don't really see the source, but you can make out that this is a calm river that's coming out of the glacier before it cascades down into this gigantic waterfall and then flows further down. And you have traced the journey of the Rupen all the way from the beginning of your trek. So seeing it in this calm, serene way at Upper Waterfall really makes you have a personal connect with the river. So this is why the campsite is so iconic. The next day you're going to go from here all the way to Rupen Pass. So it's a very, it builds up a lot of excitement just being at this campsite at 13,100 feet. The setting itself is different. The feeling is very different. That's why the Upper Waterfall campsite. The next campsite on my list is one of our newest discoveries, and we have named it as the Lunar campsite. It's on the Chandrabhaga Glacier trek in Lahaul and Spiti. So this campsite is something that you walk to right from Baralachala. You walk around 6 kilometers. You are in glacier land and you're camping at 16,100 feet. That is higher than the Rupen Pass trek that I spoke about. So camping there in this beautiful cold desert, we have given it this name Lunar because you feel like you're on extraterrestrial moon-like landscapes where it's just deserts all around you, but you're in this cauldron of very big mountains of that region where you can see iconic peaks like the KR peak, you see Mount Yunam behind you, you see this beautiful glacial stream flowing beside you. So it is actually one of the biggest highlights of the Chandrabhaga Glacier trek just to be able to camp at the Lunar campsite. For the last most iconic campsite in this video, I'm going to pull you all the way down from 16,000 feet to the plateaus of central India where it is warm and hot. So I'm talking about the Nayagaon Lake campsite on the Pench Tiger Trail. Now this is a relatively new trek, not many people have heard of this campsite, but this is a very picturesque campsite because you are camping right on the edge of this very beautiful moon-shaped lake. What makes it very thrilling is you are camping on this side in tents and your knowledge that on the other side of the lake is this dense forest where there is a lot of wildlife prevalent right there. You are also in the middle of civilization because there are villages around you. but you know that there is this very nice harmony of wildlife, of civilization going on, and you are in the heart of it camping there. So it gives you a very different feeling camping here. Another interesting fact is the Pench Tiger Trail or the Pench National Park is one of the only 2 dark sky parks in our country, and that is classified as a dark sky park because of very less light pollution. So we tend to have beautiful stargazing experiences conducted at this campsite, and you are not in the Himalayas, so it's actually warm and very pleasant at night, and you can see this lovely night sky above you. So it makes for a very, very beautiful experience, and you must trek in Pench just to go there and camp on this particular lake. So that is part 2 of the most iconic campsites in India. I hope you liked this list too, because we covered so many parts of our country. Now a lot of people have been asking me, why are you leaving out Kashmir? Doesn't Kashmir have beautiful campsites? Very frankly, Kashmir has some of the best campsites in our country. It requires a whole video on its own, but we'll do that when we can actually reopen trekking in Kashmir and go trek over there, because we haven't been able to do that for a long time because of a lot of unrest over there. So we'll address that in another video altogether, but these are the best campsites and you must do the treks to experience the campsites. If you need any help planning any of these treks, because every trek has a specific season, different levels of difficulty as well, we can help guide you. We have a team of trek advisors who can give you personal guidance on which trek would suit you based on your time and fitness. So we have a form in the description below, just fill it out and we'll help you. But that's all from me today in terms of iconic campsites. We'll be back with a lot more. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon next to it. I'm Swathi from Indiahikes and you're watching Trek with Swathi.